Good evening. Ron, would you open us in prayer, please?
Heavenly Father, I thank you for the day, for the many blessings of life that you bestow upon us. Ask, Lord, that we never take those for granted. Forgive us if we do. Ask, Lord, as we go about the business this evening, that you would give us wisdom far beyond what we possess, that we, in essence, would make those decisions that would be in the best interest of not only our staff, our students, and everyone that's involved with the college. We ask these things in your son's name. Amen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll consider any public comments. Is there anyone would like to speak tonight? Seeing none or hearing none, Mr. Morton, would you give us a brief update on your trip to the national conference?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking me. And before I get started, Morgan's passing out a sheet for each one of you because it's pretty lengthy. And I want you to know how thankful I am that TVCC allowed me to go, and the board, your support means a whole lot. Well, I want to tell you, it was cold up there. I got to take off my winter clothes. The food was great. Oh, it was so much fun. I enjoyed it. I was alone. I did have one night that was sleepless in Seattle. I just could not go to sleep, but I was thrilled to death because I had been chosen to receive this book. I'm sure when they saw me and I was full of questions, they knew I needed this book, so I was able to read it, and that was a lot of fun. I wanted to tell you that the name of the event, the cultivating theme, was Community College as a Catalyst, Skills for the Future. There was over 1,000 registrants, community colleges. There was over 400 first-time trustees like myself. Can you imagine 400, over 400, and how they fed us the great food, over 1,000 people, 1,500 people, and it was good food. Seattle knows how to do it. But anyway, I had been to Seattle a number of times, so therefore I wasn't going there to focus on going to see the fish being thrown or to go shopping or to go see the aircraft. I was there really to focus on TVCC and to learn. And so I have a list about 25 different things that I went to, the seminars that I went to, and you have the list in front of you, trustees, but just to let you know, the public, of some of the things that I attended a workshop on high functioning boards. And I like to think that this board is a very high functioning board. And I was excited to learn about that. I learned about retreats, that we should get together and love one another and that we should be team players. I also learned about why hold board retreats. I should share that. One of the most important things that I want to let you know, I took a seminar on agile brain emotional assessment, confronting the student's mental health crisis. And I'm a non-naturalized mental illness individual, and that was right up my alley. And I also visited the AI lab. I learned all about artificial intelligence, and I also learned about drones. And I'm very fascinated and intrigued by that because before I went to the conference, I had purchased a drone for my husband for our anniversary, November the 1st. We're going to be married 55 years. And so I thought, oh my gosh, they're offering a course in drone. There was many other seminars that I attended, but I think that's enough to share with you. And thank you again. And thank you for letting me have this opportunity to tell you about my great trip.
Thank you for going. Thank you. Dr. Morrison, President report.
All right, before I let Tammy get to the fall enrollment, I do want to give a good shout out to Jimmy Elder and our women's soccer program. Their season came to end Sunday. They lost in the semifinals of the Region 14 tournament to Navarro, 2-0. A team that has gone 3-48 in the first 3 years, ended the season at 10-4. Tied for second in our division, the North Division of Region 14, and only lost games to Navarro and number 5 Tyler at that time, which we ended up coming back and beating number 5 Tyler a week later. So great job to Jimmy and those young ladies and how they represent TVCC and created a new identity for the women's soccer program. So I wanted that recognition for them. Tammy, will you please update us on the enrollment?
Sure. Good evening, board. Fall 24 FTEs, we are at 4659 compared to 4170 FTE for fall of 23. We are at our last census date for the fall term. It is today, so we will finalize that up throughout the day and have go through our administrative draw from census rosters tomorrow. And so by Wednesday, Thursday, should have what our actual census date official numbers are for the fall term. We started registering for spring. Oh, before I go on to spring. So on the second page of the enrollment update is what our head count is also. So we are at 6266 head count for the fall term compared to 5763 for fall of 23. And you can see there the breakdown in student types, so our high school, our regular, normal traditional students, TDCJ, and our international students for each of those types. We did start registration for the spring and winter semester terms today. Off to a really good start. We were pretty busy. So looking forward to, in a month or so, having good numbers to share with you for that semester.
Any questions for Tammy or anything? All right, Spencer's going to give us an update on some of our programs and a big announcement about one of our potential soon to be here program.
The board, first I'd like to talk to you about, you may have seen it on our website and other publications. Our Bachelor of Applied Science in Elementary Education was passed by the coordinating board. And so we have the state approval for it. The next step for that will be our regional accreditor, which is SAC-COC. That will be submitted prior to July 1st, 2025. I mean, January 1st, 2025. We are hopeful to start for fall 2025, but in these processes, you really never know. There could be something, they may ask for additional information. So that's very tentative. We will, as I said, submit it before the first of the year, and then we will not hear anything until closer to June. Is when we will get that report back from them. So there are a lot of people that work on that. Suzette Stringer and Amy Rogers and Dr. Holly Collier really did a lot of work on that. And so now we're just in the process now of getting everything ready to move to the next stage, as I said, with the SAC-COC approval. We are still working with our consultant on our prison education program approval. We are part of a second chance bail experiment with the incarcerated students out at TDCJ at Tennessee Colony. So we have to have an approved prison education program, which is something that the federal government wants because they're going to expand second chance bail essentially to everyone that is eligible, and incarcerated students that are eligible. So in order to, after the experiment is over, in order to continue to that, we have to have this. We have been at TDCJ since 1969, but this is a step in the process that we have to do to continue to provide that financial aid that the incarcerated students need to continue to what they're studying out there. Internally, we are looking at a lot of our curriculum and updating a lot of our curriculum. The first one that we've updated has been computer science. We really updated the curriculum and we're streamlining the programs so that we won't have so many different pathways. We're trying to make it to where there's a couple of ways for our students to go. Our division chairs have worked a long time with their advisory board to make sure not only that we have programs that are strong with curriculum, but that they are meeting the needs of the industry. So we're working on that. Those Those changes, especially to computer science and the next department that we will work on is business. Those will be some staggered changes. We will just have to see when we can implement those. I'll work with Tammy on that to see what's going to be the best process. Some of those may have to have additional approval depending on the changes that were made. So we're updating all of those. Recently, you may have seen that we have been a part of some memorandum of understanding, some MOUs. One, Dr. Morrison was signed one with UT Tyler for the School of Pharmacy for our students to have the opportunity to apply and be a part of that program. And then later this week, we will have another signing that we are hosting with UT Tyler for concurrent enrollment. And so with that program, our students that are here will take our program and receive an associate's degree, but in the long semesters that we have, those particular students will take one class a semester in their major at UT Tyler, and they can do it face-to-face or online. But that will give them, we're hoping to have a better ease of transfer for those students because they've already been working with the institution over there. So that is happening, I believe, on Thursday. And we have updated in our memorandum of understanding with San Houston State. We have updated that one, and it will be going to Dr. Morrison for approval as soon as it gets done with legal. And then the last thing is Erica Richards and I have talked with University of North Texas. They have a Bachelor of Applied Science in a lot of different areas. And the nice thing about that is that one, it's online. Two, students would only have to complete 36 hours there. They allow 94 hours of transfer for this program. So it'd be very beneficial for our students to kind of bridge that gap, especially with ours that are those working parents, those single parents who are wanting to get a degree to move up in the workforce. But, for some people, the time and all those things. So we're working with them, and that may not take any type of formal arrangement. It could just be that we give them the opportunity to be on our campus and work with our students at different times during the semester. That would be part of what's called a program called Eagle Bound, where we have their advisors here, and it goes a little more in depth than just sitting at tables and talking to students. It goes into really kind of telling them what the next step could be after they leave TVCC if they choose to go either online or face-to-face to UNT. That's all I have.
Thank you.
And just a reminder, next board meeting will be November 25th.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Let me ask you some questions. So on these programs.
Yep.
Is there any discussion with the Terrell campus to see if there is someone we need to join with that is a better fit for those students coming from the West? And I'm not saying there is, I'm just a thought process. UT Tyler is great if you're down here.
Sure.
But if you're 40 or Terrell, is there?
We have, Dr. Morrison, you want to talk about any?
Well, I'm set to meet with Harrison Keller, the new president at UNT, talk about other partnerships.
Okay.
But we're actually going through a process where we're updating a lot of our MOUs with institutions because
This is not a criticism in any way. I just
No.
want to make sure we
But
think about that.
we did reach out to UNT Dallas, but they're because we were working on some partnerships with them. But there has been some transition, and so they're going through a new search for a new
I'll leave that up to y'all. I just
president. So
want to make sure we think about that as we look at a little more growth and look at other campuses we might develop in the future back that way. Who our best partner is. It may not be UT Tyler And it may be, I don't know.
And we also, I mean, we've always had the, MOU and a partnership with Canadian Commerce.
Yeah.
Always at that. And again, tomorrow, we've been contacted, or later this week, I'll talk to, with the people at Abilene Christian University. I wanted to have a conversation with us.
Yes.
Any other questions? All right, we're ready to move on to consider the minutes of the last meeting you have in your packet and in front of you. The minutes of the last meeting, do we have any additions, corrections? If not, do I hear a motion to accept the minutes as written?
I'll make that motion to approve.
Seconded by Teresa. All in favor? All opposed? None. Okay. Mr. Hopkins, to consider and discuss the business and financial investment report for August.
Yes, sir. Or just give you a snapshot of how we finished the fiscal year. On revenues, we have exceeded our budget by $849,000. I will tell you that when we talked about the coordinating board and the FAST program, Tammy's folks and my folks just this last week got information on the 8-week 2 for spring and the summer, and we will accrue another $126,000 on top of this. Now, when we get it, that's a whole nother discussion, but we do have those numbers to know that that's what they owe us for to complete this past fiscal year. Our payroll expenses came in 1.3 million under budget. Our M&O, 11.4, total 3.8 million under budget, total expenses. And so, we still have to go through the audit, but considering what we've already transferred to cap reserve, we'll be able to transfer another 4.7 million, in January. Now I say after the audit, as y'all know, I don't ever move that money until January. A couple of reasons. One, I like to make sure the audit's complete. Occasionally you could have audit adjustments, say bills that were supposed to be reported in August, get moved back, or a contingent liability that, they pull all of our attorneys. I'm not aware of anything, but that's just part of the process. But also this time of year is cash flow is very tight because we don't have property taxes. And the coordinating board doesn't pass till October. So I think those two things we wait till January. But I just want to say that I think that's the highest excess over and above it. And don't forget that capital reserve number, if y'all recall, we moved some from contingency cap reserve. We increased that cap reserve number to 2,780,000. So overall, you're talking about 7.5 million that we put in cap reserve, either half or we don't. Does anybody have any questions about that? Let's go on down to investment. And we were talking about cap reserve, still got a healthy balance. And when we get to the cap reserve page, you'll see that we've had a lot of activity in August. Still 33.8 billion. We pulled a little bit more into the money market because of all the activity we've got going on. On the next page, and I think this is the most activity we've ever had in a given month. But again, and y'all can see the projects there. Most of them you've seen for HSC, Policy, multipurpose, all those things that we've got going, a lot of activity at. And the insurance proceeds, we have $500,000. We got another $500,000 in September. We made that transfer again because of cash flow. We physically moved the money in October. And when all the projects are finished, they'll pay us the depreciation and all those types of things. Any questions about any of those?
Can I just make a comment?
Yeah.
I mean, I want to say thanks to your office and Marcus's group for timing our capital, improvement phases that we're going through. We've had consistently around $34 million in cap reserve. And because of their planning and how we're rolling things out, that should stay fairly consistent given if the income continues to come in as predicted. So we're doing these repairs, but we're not dipping into the till.
And I will point out this next year, in addition to having the cap reserve, as y'all recall, we've got, I think it's $2 million in contingency. Now, that's not to say we won't have to use some of that, but that's also the largest contingency that we've had since I've been here. The last page there is checks over 25,000. Again, you see a large list because of the previous page you just saw. Anybody have any questions about those? You see the Terrell campus down there is 702,000. And most of that is going to be reimbursed by insurance. Hopefully FEMA as well, but FEMA is going to be a little ways on. That's all I've got.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Hopkins?
Question. Thank you so much for the good work, but I wanted to ask you, after the auditors are here and we meet December 31st, will we come back in our January board meeting? Will we be current, like 1 month behind, or will we continue to have December not in our portfolio for our board meeting? When will we get caught up, or will it be only a month?
Well, we are caught up.
Okay, but I'm seeing, all this financials.
And you have September on the end. September is out. But understand, again, September is also in that report.
Okay, I saw some of that,
But September won't be finished.
right,
We provide these reports October 21st.
right,
We don't have anywhere close to September invoices. So if I give you a report, it's
Understand.
useless.
well, you can't move that stuff around, I mean,
No.
I know it doesn't have anything to do with the pool basis,
Yes, it does.
and I don't think it has anything to do with cash basis, because I'm familiar with both of them, but I respect you and I'll let you be the lead, but I think it's called accountability to our people in the different departments, because last time, I heard that it's hard to get all of these departments to get their budgets of their stuff in, which I understand, but it's called accountability. And we always, that I've known in the past, have had current, not too much behind, but it's something to think about. It's not something that, maybe you want to talk to me personally about it, but I don't think it has anything to do with the pool. I understand it, but with today's technology, you can move, change, you do it all the time. I don't really like a pool. I don't really like cash basis. They both have different functionalities and they all have advantages, but I lend my voice to you being the expert because you are who we turn to, but I just kind of like to know the answer.
This is as current as it's going to get, because if you think about September,
Okay,
you buy something at the end of September, we don't have the invoices from the vendor.
okay.
No, it's not.
Why is it not okay?
You can't book it if you don't have it. We can't report it on the records if we don't have
Well,
the
that's all right.
invoice.
You report it the next month when you get it.
No, it has to be reported in September, the month that you incurred the debt. Invoice date in September has to be reported in September.
What says that?
Accrual account. The auditors will give you a modified audit opinion if you don't follow that. They will
Good
modify.
answer. Good answer. It helps me to understand. But I remember, and I don't know, we can have a sidebar conversation sometime, but I've looked at other colleges like Navarro County and all the others. They're current, but they're not too much behind. But anyway, thank you so much for your answer, and we'll talk sometime about it, and you can keep me a few accounting lessons, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, do I hear a motion to approve the financial report?
So moved.
Second, someone second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Dr. Morrison, electrify us with the next item here.
Yes. We're asking, the board to approve emergency repairs to the welding building. We had an incident, a few weeks back where, student arced the system and it basically burned up all the wiring throughout the welding. We had old, federal panels, what they call them, which I guess they're 30, 40 years old. And it basically burned up everything inside except for the general electricity for lighting. And we're asking the board to approve the emergency, take based on Texas code, for us to go out and get repairs done. The students are temporarily in in an adjacent building at the automotive doing their class, but they're operating on maybe a third of the booths that they typically would operate on. And not all the equipment is able to operate in that facility. So we need to act quickly to get this repaired. And we're asking the ability to spend up to $85,000 to $100,000 to repair the current welding facility.
How long will that work take?
We've already started the process of making sure we can get all the supplies in, because that was another concern about the supply chain. 2 weeks, Marcus, is what they tell us.
Right, and that's why we're requesting it to be declared an emergency situation, is because we've been told if we don't acquire the equipment that we've been able to identify, that it could be a matter of months instead of weeks. So that's the reason for the emergency.
Do we have any knowledge to know that, if, I know it says not to exceed 85,000, but do we have a ballpark figure that we might think it's gonna be?
I would ask the board to maybe consider up to 100,000, because we're seeing increases in prices as daily when we're tracking down this information. But it's around 85 range, but I'd like some flexibility if something comes in higher.
You can always come back to us, I guess, and ask.
Well, it'll be at the end of November and we gotta,
I'll make a motion up to 100,000 if you need.
thank you, sir.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? You have a motion made and seconded. Hearing none, do we hear motion to approve? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Okay, policy updates, Dr. Morrison.
In your packet, you have some policy revisions for purchasing and acquisition. You have a red line copy, and then you also have the final draft copy dealing with thresholds of purchasing. David Hopkins is here to answer any particular questions that you may have, but these changes are in coordination with our legal counsel and also in line with other colleges, like colleges in the state of Texas.
Mr. Hopkins, can you outline the highlights of these changes?
Oh, just what we changed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we made some changes to the amounts that go to the board, from 50 to 100,000. Middle section, if it's something is budgeted, and it has to be, I'll use the term bid out under the education code under those methods. And it's 100,000, will require board approval except for, interlocal purchases. What we're trying to avoid is, we're not gonna bring utility bills, computers, things like that, that we would buy off of Texas DIR or some go-out contract that are already budgeted. That's the main focus there. And a purchase that's not in the budget and it's over $50,000 will require board approval. It's not in the budget.
And as I understand it, these changes, if someone wanted to submit 3 or 4 different items to keep it under a certain amount, that's, if it's all going toward the same item, then that's precluded from happening, right?
Yeah, it's against the law. And these folks will tell you that my people look at that very closely. The other section, I think we talked about this before. We made changes to purchases from employees. We tightened that up a little bit, to make sure that we comply with IRS guidelines and have business office approval. That particular thing, it came up when I first noticed that we had a billboard in Terrell that happen to be owned by one of our employees. So if you don't have a policy addressing things like that, then, you know, you have to be aware of, if you're gonna contract with an employee, you have to have a policy. And the last part, I think, I know we've all talked about this, is the informal bids. We're raising that from 5,000 to 10,000. In most of the colleges that we polled were 10,000. I discovered that the 10,000 really comes from the Code of Federal Regulations, CFR. Their micro purchase limit for grants, federal grants, is 10,000. So rather than having two separate policies, we stuck with the 10,000, from 10,000 to 49,999. You'd have to have at least two bids, unless it was on a purchase co-op. But those, for the most part, we're just raising 5 to 10. And we're also having a lot of bid fatigue because, you know, we keep asking vendors over and over again to bid, and they lose. And so everything has gone up in price. And this brings that particular piece in line with what the feds are doing.
Does anyone have any comments or questions for Mr. Hopkins?
Question, would you share with me some colleges that we compared ourselves to, if you don't mind?
Sure.
Sizes or just who they were. Just curious.
What we looked at: Cisco, Alvin, San Jacinto, Weatherford, Amarillo, Glenn, Collin, Dallas, Del Mar, El Paso, Kilgore, McLennan, South Plains, South Texas, Tarrant, Victoria, Lee, College of the Mainland, and DeMar.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Hearing none, do I hear a motion on this item? Mr. Stone moves first, Dr. Easton seconds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign, motion carries. All right, next item, we're going to convene, let's consider and discuss personnel update.
Before you have a list of personnel updates, resignation, termination, non-renewal, new hires, et cetera, just seeking board approval.
Any questions, comments? Do I hear a motion to approve the personnel update? So moved, second by Dr. Reisinger. All in favor? All opposed, like sign, motion carries. Okay, now we're ready to convene the executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code, section 551.074, 551.072 for the following purposes: to deliberate the appointment and employment, evaluation, and reassignment duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public official or employee, or to hear a complaint or charge against a public officer or employee, including but not in no way limited to the following positions: Vice President, Student Services, and the Board of Trustees District 3 vacancy, as well as real property. I hear a motion to go into executive session. Dr. Easton made a motion, seconded by. And we, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank y'all. The TV.
He's texting everybody out now.
Miles,
Miles?
No.
did you put the boardroom in the breakout?
Okay, do I hear a motion to go back into regular session? Dr. Reisinger, second by Dr. Eason. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, like sign, motion carries. First order of business is we're going to consider the Vice President of Student Services. Do I hear a motion on that?
I'd like to make a motion that we move Tammy Denny from the vacant to the Vice President of Student Service.
Do I hear a second of
I'll
that?
second that.
Second by Ms. Mayfield. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Like sign. Motion carries. Second order of business is to discuss the Board of Trustees District 3 vacancy. Do we hear a motion on that?
Make a motion that, we present Doug Curran to fill the unexpired term for District 3.
Do I hear a second? Second. Second by Mr. Stone. Any discussion?
Let's now have some discussion. May I address the
Yes, ma'am.
trustees and the community? I'll just address you for right here. I want to share with you my thoughts. These are points to consider for a new trustee. And I wanted our trustees to be open-minded. We had 4 capable candidates. But for the record, I want it known that I'm a team player. I support the board members' decisions. And I'm willing to be a maverick and stand alone, even if I'm the only cow in the house standing or in the pasture. How's that? We had a banker that was a resident from the Frankston, Palestine area. We had a retired industrial engineer that was with Train. We had a retired business food industry. We had a number of great candidates. And I think we need to have board balance. And I just feel like we don't have board balance from that area of east of the district, which includes the Palestine, Frankston Corner, the Baxter LaRue area. And even though our candidate of choice that you've heard we voted on, that he is from the district, but we do have Steve Grant, Jerry Jones, myself, that know the pulse of the Athens community. That doesn't mean that none of them are not qualified. And Dr. Kearns is a fine man. I've served on a number of boards with him. I like him very well, but I'm just being open-minded. I'm just being the maverick to tell my fellow members to be open-minded about who we put, because we do know this is just an appointment time. Someone can run later, but I think each of you know the community areas. Each one of us have an area. Like Betty represents Kaufman. Dr. Reisinger represents Terrell. Jerry Stone, Malakoff. I don't have to go any further. You know those. I think there is a great need for the east of our county to be represented. It should not be about popularity or name recognition. It should be about balance, diversity, and for the needs for the area to be represented. And so I wanted to see that area represented more deep down in there. And tonight we only received one candidate, which was Dr. Kearns. And I wish that our trustees could have had all the other candidates, but that was not done. And that just happened. We got it late. But if I would have had any say, I would have liked my trustees to have seen the other 3 candidates. Each candidate brings special gifts, no doubt about it at all. And we need to be open-minded and do the best for our TBC campuses. You know, I had this from a community perspective, and there's no secrets. You know, Dr. Kern's daughter works for the college, and it's not illegal. His son works for Grant Realty. I just thought, from my point of view, the community might lift an eyebrow, but you know, we can endure that. I mean, he's well-known, he's loved, everybody wants him, and I'm just hoping that he'll be able to give us the time. And please understand, I care a lot about Dr. Kearns, and I care about each one of these, but I care about my community, and I represent the community. And so that's my strategy, why I wanted to see balance and diversification on the east side of the area, because we have no representation from way over there. And have great candidates, and it's a rare opportunity that we get 4 super candidates. Thank you for your time. Thank you, trustees.
Thank you. Just for clarification, I would like to say that there was a committee of 3 that interviewed all 4 candidates. After all 4 candidates met, we hashed the responses for that. And our charge as a committee was to bring back a recommendation to the board. Now, although many times we'd like for it to be unanimous, you know, we all have our own thoughts and we're entitled to. We all 3, you know, and we all 3 on that, it was Trustee Gaithrow and myself and Ms. Morton. And we all 3 had strong opinions, and that committee voted 2-1 to move to the board this discussion of, in which I want to clarify this, we have not voted on anything. We've simply discussed the matter, and it hasn't been voted on yet. We've had a motion made in a second, and then we're at the discussion phase of this. And thank you for your comments. Anybody else have any comments regarding this matter? Hearing none, we've had a motion to appoint Dr. Doug Curran as the Board of Trustees District 3 for the District 3 position. This is an unexpired term. It will expire in May 25. I mean, 26. So we've had a motion made and a second. And so all in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Ms. Morton voted not. And so motion carries by a majority. And that concludes that. Moving on to the next item. Consider and discuss personnel matters. Oh, we've already done that, yeah. Oh, the next item is the most important one. Yeah. All right, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed?
No discussion?
No discussion. I'm ready to go.
You need to do record time.